Welcome to the Ocean Race Show, where there's been some very strange moves on the tracker, so join us today as we try and work out what's been going on as our teams push on in the Southern Ocean. A week ago, when Guyot Environment Team Europe discovered a panel on their boat was moving, it caused them to turn around and head for Cape Town. Their decision to turn back confirmed as the right one. Cracks in the outside of the hull showed just how serious the damage was.
We are retiring from the race today, officially, from this leg. Yeah, we will need probably like 12 days for the repair, and then we have to deliver the boat to Itajaí from here to rejoin the race. So to do leg 3 again would not be possible.
So it's official, the retirement then for Guyot Environment Team Europe from leg 3 of this race, but it's a sensible move and it should see this boat back to fighting form by the start of the next leg in Brazil. Meanwhile, we still have 4 boats out on the water competing for points. A long way from Cape Town and skirting the ice limit, the drag race for second place has been fiercely contested between Biotherm, Team Milizia and 11th Hour Racing Team. But they are also in a race to exploit their chance to close down on Team Holcim-PRB, out in front, still with a lead of over 400 miles. Now, on closer inspection, we noticed something strange in the tracks from the boats, especially 11th Hour Racing Team. There were a number of kinks in their paths, moments where they basically turned away from the breeze and came off the throttle, slowed the boat down. And when we looked back at their track, we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 kinks, 8 moments where the boat was going slow. What on earth was going on here? Well, just as we were scratching our heads, a feed came in from the boat and the onboard reporter, and it seemed to shed some light into the issues that they were having. The mast camera showed the damage to the foot of their J3 sail. One of the stanchions, a post that secures the guard wires on the side of the boat, had ripped through the sailcloth. They slowed the boat, turning away from the wind, the first kink on the tracker, so that the crew could go forward and drop the sail, then drag it below deck for repairs.
3, 2, 1.
Now that they couldn't use their J3, they hoisted their smaller J4 or storm jib to limit their losses in performance. All right, quick time out there because there's an awful lot of words like J2, J3, J4 bashing around. So let's just have a little bit of a moment to work out exactly what is being said. So all these terms are about different sails that they have on board. I'll go through this pretty quickly, but basically our boats are allowed to take 8 sails on the boat when they're sailing a leg. Now that obviously includes the main sail, but we'll put that one to one side for the moment. If we have a look at those sails, they're going to start with sails that are really good for light winds and maybe downwind. We're going to talk about things like the spinnaker. Okay, and we've seen the spinnaker play out really nicely in the opening stages of leg 2 with that downwind battle. Then from there, we'll have a masthead code 0, really good for quite tight reaching in light winds. Then we've got a fractional code 0. Then a J0, then a J2, then a J3, and then a J4, or what you might know as a storm jib. That's the last point of reference for when the wind gets really, really rough. Now the sails down one end are really good for light winds, downwind maybe, and as we come all the way round, that wind increases. The problem for 11th Hour Racing Team is they lost their J3. They lost their J2. Not permanently, yes, they're going to potentially be able to repair them, but for the moment those 2 sails are out of action. And so now they have a gaping hole in their sail inventory. When they're on these sails, when that's the right thing to do for the forecast and for the conditions, perfect. When it's really windy and they're on their storm jib, that's fine. But when they need to be here, where the gap is, where there's no sails ready to use, that means that they're going to be off the pace. And that could have really, really big implications, not just miles, but potentially they could slip off the back of the weather system as well. But we'll come to that in a moment. For the meantime, let's see what they were doing about this tear. Well, the tear was fixable, but significant enough that it needed to be done right, not a job to rush.
Now we're into some windy weather again, and you know this J3 is ripped at the bottom, sort of rubs against the stanchion.
So at the moment we're main with one wheel and storm deep, so it's a bit underboard most of the time. Yeah, just have to accept it and yeah, as we say, think long term.
It's the second sail today, right?
Yeah, we have a small little rip on the J2, which is sort of the same thing, really. Same stanchion. But right, you know, only a small little one, and this one was sort of quite a bit bigger and looked in risk of, you know, all it is a few bad jumps on the boat and the thing goes vertical and rips the whole sail in half, and then you're really done, you know.
The glue was applied to a new patch, while the motion of the boat made being precise tricky, so they chose to slow down when sticking it in place, something clearly noticeable by the change of pitch from the foils.
We'll give us sci-fi.
Get going.
Justine didn't want to be slow for a second longer than was needed, so as soon as the patch was good, the throttle maxed out again.
As much as what we just did looked like the hard part is now. We have to wait for this to dry a fair bit before we put it up.
And what's that usually take? Like,
In a real world situation, you leave it overnight. I think the mistake with 30 days would be trying to put it up too early.
Yeah, good job, because both sides are quite symmetrical.
Once the glue was firmed up, the patch was stitched on. Again, the boat was slowed, sensible when working with a large sailmaker's needle at sea. Then back to their best speed while leaving the glue to finish drying. Once enough time has passed, the boat is slowed yet again so the crew can work on the deck. The sail is brought out through the forward hatch and hoisted into place. Everyone wanted to work as fast as possible, limiting the time spent at a slow but needed speed. One rip, one small half-metre tear requiring the boat to be constantly slowed and keeping the crew working below decks. This tear damaged their speed, their performance in the race, and stopped those sailors who should have been resting from getting any sleep. But a sensible decision to do the job right.
Yeah, it might have been fine 2 hours ago, but if it wasn't, it's a bit of a disaster and you have to start at zero again. It's even worse because if the glue's not dry and then it comes off, you're obviously then dealing with wet glue, so it would have been a real nightmare. So I think we did the good thing. We had a bit of patience. It was a bit frustrating because, you know, obviously lost a bit of hard-earned miles to the other guys, but we'll get them back. And yeah, the boat's going properly again now, so that's cool. It's that race to get undressed as quickly as humanly possible whilst picking your wave and acceleration moment to get back in the bunk having been quite warm and comfortable and then woken up for sail check.
Slowing down for these repairs is critical. The ride is so violent that it would be reckless to try and do such delicate work while at full speed. And now we can understand what these kinks were in their tracks. The first one, the first slowing down, bearing away to drop the sail and bring it below deck. The second, slowing again to apply that patch. The third, more slowing to stitch the patch into place. And then fourth, bearing away again to hoist the sail once the glue had dried, unfurl it and get back up to full speed. But that does not explain these other 4 kinks, these other 4 times that the boat has been slowing down. What's going on here? The onboard reporter, Amory Ross, sent in a blog update outlining some issues that they've been having with their rudder. And we did get this image. It clearly shows cracks in their rudder system. So maybe these are some repairs, maybe these are some issues that they're having, but the team aren't saying anything more at the moment. When we hear more, we'll pass it on to you. Right now, questions remain. But slowing the boat down and being careful when you are conducting these kind of difficult repairs is very sensible. The sailors don't get this same kind of consideration. Just moving around the boat, just going to the toilet or getting dressed, they're going to have to live with the violence on board.
Just waiting for the right moment to tighten up. You have to wait for the right moment to move when the boat's not hooning down a wave. Because sometimes it takes a long time. It's like sending it the fastest. Never? I forgot my hat. I got it.
Sam Davies showing just how difficult it is to live on an IMOCA. But what is it like to be on a boat with her on board? What kind of a sailor is she? Well, we spoke to Dee Kafari, someone that knows her well, to find out more.
I've been really lucky to have done a lot of miles racing with Sam and also racing against Sam Davies. And she's a formidable force on a boat for sure. But if you're lucky enough to have her on your team, she definitely is the ultimate team player. She wants the best from everyone. She comes up with a big smile no matter what's going on, and it's infectious. She genuinely, absolutely loves being out there on the water, and you can't help but enjoy yourself when you're sailing with her. But as an engineer in her background, she's got that really good attention to detail and understands how the structures work and how to get the best from them. So she's really good at developing and communicating how best to get something from someone or something on the boat. So I've been really pleased and I really loved the sailing I've done with her, and I really hope I get to sail with her again.
Sam Davies, clearly a strong asset to Biotherm, who are leading the chasing pack, with Team Milizia just behind and to the north, an 11th Hour Racing team with their performance issues unable to hold on to the group and forced to turn more south as they lose touch with the boats and wind as well. Out in the lead, Team Holcim-PRB, and while the lead is still healthy and the charge from behind is taking longer than some would hope, the distance is closing. Kevin Escoffier and his team performing multiple jibes south, trying to stay on the best course, not wanting to give up any more miles as the boats behind push on closer and closer. Kevin Escoffier can feel those boats charging in from the west, and that's where the weather is building as well. The weather systems sweeping in across are going to squeeze the fleet together. So for all of our teams right now hoping to take advantage of that extra power, it's important to make sure that everything on your boat is in good working order and nothing is brewing below decks that could potentially go wrong. That means checking over the boats for leaks, cracks and any damage. On Biotherm, apart from a few everyday drips of water through the hatches and fittings, the boat seems to be in good shape. But that's not the case for Team Holcim-PRB. The onboard reporter was able to capture this exchange, this nervous moment between Tom Lepage and Kevin Escoffier about the issues that they were having and where they felt vulnerable.
On va peut-être... Oui, il n'y pas que la bonne voile.
Une carte, je l'ai fait avec la mauvaise voile. Une carte d'avant, vous dites que vous aviez fait aussi un petit peu, ça fait pas regarder, mais c'est pendant 6 heures.
Et là, on va pas se faire 10 heures avec la mauvaise voile, hein. On va être 20 000, quoi. On y va?
So once again, it seems to come down to the sails and whether you've got the right sail on board your boat and it's working for the conditions that you're facing. And for Kevin Escoffier and the team on board Team Holcim-PRB, if they do have a sail missing in their inventory or it's damaged and the forecast is demanding that they put that sail up, it means they're going to be underperforming. That's going to be giving miles to the boats behind, and they might not be able to hold on to the lead for as long as they will hope. The battle rages on leg 3 of the ocean race.